What's up, folks? My name is Lane, and we are going to be reading my book, The Journey to Simple Passive Cash Flow. And this is meant for the real estate investing for the working professional here. Now, I'm going to be going through reading this by myself, and I'm going to be adding some color here and there, going a little bit off script, maybe adding a story here or there, making it a little bit more fun for you guys. And here we go. Introduction. So back in 2009, I purchased my first rental property. I did so without any experience or knowledge or how to be a landlord, including where or even what to buy. No one in my family or friend circle had ever owned rental real estate. I did not know how to even run the numbers. We will give you the rental property analyzer later in this book. And if you guys want to go to simplepassivecashflow.com/analyzer, you guys can go and download it there. Sounds crazy, right? And so I became an accidental landlord. I didn't consciously go into buying this first property. I followed the old financial dogma: go to school, study hard, and get a good job. I became an engineer and, following the advice of my parents, saved up my money to buy my first house in Seattle, Washington, a primary market that we'll discuss later in this book. I've since learned to not buy properties in primary markets like Hawaii, California, Washington, New York, Miami, to name a few. But I simply didn't know any better at the time because I listened to all the unsophisticated mom and pop investor advice out there. As a young professional, just a few years out of college, I was mostly out working on the road. The new guy always gets sent out. So there I was. I had purchased a home that I was barely around to enjoy. The house cost me $357,000 and I had to come up with a 20% down payment. So I had to save about 80 grand. I did that in my first couple years of working as an engineer. But because I was never home, I just decided to call one of my old landlords from college. At the time, I didn't realize this person was a property manager, and I asked, "Hey, can you rent out my property?" After that call, she came over and we signed some paperwork. About a week later, she had found somebody who wanted to rent my house for $2,200 a month. And just like that, I moved out all my stuff and decided to live on the road and off company expenses for the next few years. I think I was able to save $60,000 to $100,000 per year by doing this, which, spoiler alert, went to saving up for more down payments on future rental properties. My mortgage, interest, taxes, and insurance for that first property totaled around $1,600 a month. So picture a young 20-something-year-old with a cool $600 extra a month. Talk about easy money. That was a lot of beer money for me back then. More importantly, this was also when I got the taste of cash flow. At the time, I flew down to Las Vegas frequently because my company figured it was cheaper to fly me to Las Vegas for the weekends instead of all the way up to my home location in Seattle. I suddenly had $600 worth of extra spending money per month that I was able to spend freely. It was pretty much like playing with house money, and that mindset lasted for a few months. Once the novelty wore off, I started to broaden my thinking. I was frustrated at work. I worked as a construction supervisor, managing between 40 and 50 union-based construction workers who were my parents' age. And I realized getting more rentals and passive cash flow could be the way out of working over 12-hour days and living in motel rooms out in the wild blue yonder. I started to really think about the numbers and how much money I was making once my property manager got a tenant in place. It's a no-brainer. At first, you're only thinking about the cash flow, right? The amount of money that the rental is kicking off every month. Of course, some months you might make more and some you might make less, but overall you're making a pretty good return. What most people don't realize with rental real estate is that you're making money four ways: mortgage pay down, tax benefits, appreciation, and the aforementioned cash flow. I realized that I was able to make about 30% a year on my initial investment. Then I scratched my head. Why the heck do I keep putting money in my 401k and maxing that thing out? Why am I supposedly making only 8 to 10% there? Where is my money going? If I can do 2 to 3 times with a simple rental property, where is everyone's else money going? Who stole it? If you guys want to go check out like my math and how I got that 20 to 30% returns on my money, go to simplepassivecashflow.com/returns. Check out the math there. If not, we'll continue reading on. Just take my word for it. It didn't seem like a great deal. In fact, I had felt lied to. You know, that feeling when you find that same pair of Nikes you bought at Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom was more expensive than Macy's or elsewhere on the interwebs. Well, who am I kidding? Most of you guys don't shop at Neiman Marcus or any place like that. You don't read a book on finances or investing if you're a retail shopper. But why are there so many retail investors though? This is when I started to learn the difference between those who invest on Wall Street and others who choose to take their financial future into their own hands, investing in real assets like properties and growing their money at multitudes greater than the average person who remains at their day jobs until their 70s and 80s. Yep, you guessed it. As an engineer, I started to build a spreadsheet, projecting the years and decades down the line. I would be able to retire much, much earlier than my parents thought they could. And then I started to become obsessed with this journey into simple passive cash flow. While there are so many real estate guru programs out there, they mostly just fill your head with tons of mindset and motivation, with zero tactical steps to take effective action. Most of these guru programs sell to broke guys trying to get rich quick by selling hope and dream. When I started out, there was nothing for the high-paid, working, busy professional like me. This book is for the person who is stuck at their high-paying job who wants to prudently build their wealth the way the wealthy quietly do. You haven't quite put your finger on it, but there's something more to life than going to work and getting a paycheck. Unfortunately, you're in a system that has been rigged against you with 401ks, mutual funds, and other retail investments. One of the saddest things I see hardworking people do is buying a house to live in, not in a rental, at the start of their financial journeys. I think this is one of the worst financial mistakes you can make. While writing this book, I have bought two houses to live in, but now choose to rent because it is much more advantageous to do so. After working with clients to achieve the goal to getting their net worth from 1 million to 10 million, I now believe that one should not buy a house unless their net worth is 2 to 3 times the price of their primary residence. So that means a lot of y'all shouldn't be owning the house that you live in right now. Financial independence is not for everybody, but it is for the worthy. Welcome to the journey to simple passive cash flow. I've since built a $750 million real estate portfolio that all started with a single family home in 2009. And now I want to share everything I learned along the way with you.